It is high. It is far. It is February the 24th, 2026. This is FSPN, the most trusted name in fake news. I'm Frankie from Flatbush, and we have some news on this Tuesday. It's combine time. So there's going to be a lot of news coming out of this week, and we got some today. AG and Muji speaking. Lots of the media also talking, so we're going to have a lot to talk about. So let's get right to the news. We got a ticker. We got a ticker. Jets buzz. AG and Muji spoke, and I was curious. About how things were going to look for Mr. AG and Mr. Muji. Are they beaten down by the job? How are they looking? And I thought they both looked fine. Looked good, confident, happy. And it was an interesting presser, I think, for AG more than Muji, but he stressed the improvement about himself. So he was humble. He was self-aware. These are words you're not going to hear from the other media doofuses, but this is the truth. He was said he made some mistakes in 25. He's not going to make the same ones this year. Well, that's all you can expect. Now, we're going to have to see him perform before we render a verdict, but we're hoping for improvement from AG, and that's what he's hoping for from himself, and that, I thought, was very interesting. The coaching staff, he said, it took time to put it together, but he said it was meant to be that way. He confirmed that he's going to be the play caller. That's his superpower, he called it. Excellent. But he knew that with calling the plays on defense, he needed more experience on offense. That led him to Frank Reich and getting rid of Tanner. But no specifics on the schematics of the defense. He did reveal some things about Woody Johnson, which were good to hear. And hopefully this is the case, that he's not as meddlesome as some would lead you to believe. He said all Woody says is, all right, that sounds good. How can I support you? How can I help you? Which is kind of what he said about the report card issue as well. He said, listen, whatever the players want, whatever it is, they come, they ask, they shall receive. So this is sort of in line with that. Nobody reports that but FSPN. We here are trying to hope and pray that Woody is learning over time to at least not be so horrible of an owner that he lets the football people do the football things, the money people can do the money things, and never the two shall cross. Let's hope that we're getting to that place. So whenever there is good news about Woody, I like to report it, so very few people will. And we all understand why. He's a Nepo baby. We haven't won in 15 years. He comes off as a D-bag, and he says lots of weird and stupid things. We know this. And so it's hard to say good thing, but when some good news about Woody comes out, I think somebody should talk about it. And so that's exactly what you would hope for with Woody, where it's like that's the way it should be. All right, we're firing these people. Well, he's got to keep paying those coaches. We're firing these people, and now we're bringing in new coaches. I got to pay the new ones, and I got to keep paying the old ones. And his response was, "Okay, sounds good. How can I help you? How can I help you succeed?" Well, that's a good thing. So hopefully that's the way it continues. And he's excited, AG is, for some of these young coaches. Seth Ryan, the Stanford boys. Not hearing a lot about the Stanford boys. Dipshit Country Club, Connor Hughes, with the dipshit questions. You can see in their eyes they really hate Connor Hughes. Boy, do they. He said, why is it going to be this different this time with you hiring the staff? You were high on your old staff. Why should we think you're going to get it right with these people? Kind of a dipshit douchebag question. And the answer is, well, I learned a lot. I'm different. I told you I'm changing. I'm developing. Hopefully that's the case. And it does seem like Country Club and everybody else misreported how things went with Wink, at least according to AG. Maybe there's some truth in the middle. But they said, it changed a lot since he wasn't going to call plays. Now he's calling plays. This changed a lot. Something happened. Well, maybe AG was just thinking about it, and then he decided, I'm going to call plays. He said Wink was still interested in the job, even after that. That was the misreporting. And then he just decided, well, if I'm going to call the plays, I need Duker here. I need my man, the Dukes of Hazzard. And so he went and got Dukes of Hazzard out of Miami and said, "All right, you're the new DC. We're going to run this together." They were together in Detroit. They they got that connection. All right, it's not that big of a deal. Darren Muji got up there, looked good to me, confident, and he said the big news: Brees is going to be here next year. If he takes the deal, which he will, in my opinion, longer-term deal, then great. If not, then we're going to tag him, and he's going to be here one way or another. I think this will be wrapped up by the end of the week. Brees is going to have a couple of choices. You could take $11 million on the transition tag, or you can take $23-24 million guaranteed in a 2 or 3 year deal, probably a 3-year deal, $25 million guaranteed with some incentives, something like that. And he would be foolish not to take that deal. Take it. It's life-changing money. You got your money. All right. You'll be, at the worst case, you'll be a free agent again by age 27, 26, 27. Get another bag. All good. No reason not to take it. You're not going to get a better deal on the market. You're not getting to market, which is what I told you when the Jets leaked that information to Fowler, Jeremy Fowler. That was the Jets telling Nicole Lynn, Brees' agent, that this is what we're doing. You're not getting to market, so you can either take 26 or you can take 11. Which one would you like? He's going to say, I'd like 26. So unless he wants to be really stupid, which I don't think he is, he's going to take the 26. He'll be here for 2 or 3 more years, and that's good. Let's go. Then let's get AVT or Simpson in the fold and move on from there. Muji also said he doesn't think the Raiders are trading number one. We learned that he was on the Broncos staff with Spytek, the GM of the Raiders, knows him well, and made a joke. He doesn't think the Raiders are trading that number one pick, so that's just looking like Mendoza all day. Will McDonald looks like the option will be picked up. Sounds like he's leaning toward that. And one thing I did notice, too, in the aftermath of all this, with some of the news reporting and some things that were said leading up to this, he makes a point to say this is not sourced, meaning the Jets haven't talked to him, or Jet sources haven't talked to him about it. But Country Club Connor Hughes is pushing Tanner McKee out into the public domain and wanting the fans to start talking about it. Tanner McKee is represented by Athletes First. They are one of the big agencies out there, so it's pretty clear Country Club Connor's taking money from Athletes First. Money, cases of alcohol, different gifts you can get. It's pretty obvious that Athletes First wants to they're one of the huge agencies out there. They want to get their people situated. They're probably going to get Malik Willis situated in Arizona, Tua situated in Miami. And then, so now they're looking, all right, who else can we get situated and on our roster? Well, Tanner McKee for the Jets. How about that? It's not a good situation for the Jets to do that, but it's pretty clear that Country Club Connor, while making clear that it's not sourced information, it's pretty clear that he's taking a bribe, so to speak, although it's not illegal, from Athletes First to push Tanner McKee out there. If Tanner McKee is the starting quarterback for the Jets, this channel will probably go dark for a while, because that'll mean we're in big trouble, everybody. So we don't want that. As a backup, sure, fine. Starting? No. NFL Sizzle, Combine chattering. So we found out today that Kirk Cousins will be released, confirmed by the GM of the Falcons, Ian Cunningham. So there's a much better option for the Jets right there. Tyler Linderbaum will most likely be signed to a quote-unquote market-setting deal per EDC. That's the offer they've made him. Eric DeCosta, the GM of the Ravens. As I told you last week, when the news came out that they were trying hard to sign Linderbaum, anytime that the Ravens try hard to sign anybody, they sign them. The Dolphins will draft a quarterback, they said, this year. Does that mean there's no Malik Willis to them? There's Green Bay ties there, but I think the better option for them, the better option for Willis will be to go out to Arizona, the LaFleur connection, and they have the money. And people are talking about 25, 30, 35 million for Malik Willis. He started 6 games, God's sakes. They also said they'd like to trade. They're entertaining a trade. They're interested in a trade. Okay, well, I'm also interested in dating Sydney Sweeney, but these things are not going to happen. The Steelers are quote unquote keeping the door open for Aaron Rodgers' return, and it's up to him. Mark Caboli, their beat writer, remains confident despite the Aditi Kinkabwala, aka Kinky, report that the chances are minuscule. Caboli feels extremely confident that Rodgers will return to the Steelers. And if that's the case, then Cousins has nowhere to go except the Jets is now, unless he wants to play KOC all day. If he wants to go back to the Vikings and be a backup, if he wants to be a starter, there really is nowhere for Cousins to go, and Carr for that matter. Derek Carr, if he wants to come back. But the Jetsies. So that's who I would expect. As of this moment, I would expect either Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins to be our starter next year. That's as of this moment. We're going to know a lot more information come the weekend, though. The Raiders said they expect Crosby to be a Raider. So, old Spy Tech, apparently not going to stock up the roster because you could trade Crosby for a bunch of picks. You could trade the first overall for a bunch of picks. As of right now, doesn't seem like that's what they're inclined to do. The Eagles did not give a commitment on A.J. Brown, so he could be traded. That would be interesting. Maybe the Giants, maybe the Patriots is some of the speculation. The Browns are willing to explore trade downs, as every team. Barry said they're going to be super aggressive next year and opportunistic this year, which to me means that they're probably going with Shador and Watson this year and then get out of the Watson contract next year. So I wouldn't expect them to sign a guy like Malik Willis, for example. There's also the athletes first blocking. Watson is also an athletes first client, so they also want Watson to win that job. So very interesting, but every team's willing to explore trade downs for that matter. And a reminder, some rumors are coming out from Tony Pauline. Pauline's the worst journalist of all time. Never believe anything Tony Pauline says, though he does get things right occasionally, as does everybody. So we'll have to see. Same thing as with Manish Mehta. All right, so that's all of the things that came out earlier today. Let's see if there's anything to do as of late. Breaking news. Let's peruse the wires. So Sean Payton with the Broncos is handing over play calling to Davis Webb. Seems like Davis Webb will be out of there by probably next year. Cowboys have offered Brandon Aubrey a deal to make him the highest paid kicker. So we'll see about that. That's a guy who came out of UFL. Let's see. Trent McDuffie and the Chiefs plan to work toward a long-term contract extension, so he was a trade candidate there, looking like that's not going to happen now. He'll stick there. Kyle Pitts was franchise tagged, so he's staying in Atlanta. Alec Pierce will be a hot commodity. Everybody knows that. Malik Willis about to get paid. So I guess we were wrong when we were speculating about Malik Willis. Spot Track had him for $10 million. Then PFF came out with $20 million. Now it's up to $30 million. I guess we're just going to give this guy fucking $1 billion. 6 game starts. Let's just give him everything. Amazing. Amazing. A competition committee discussing contingencies if they can't work out a deal with the referee union. You want to know why the refs stink so much? Well, they're in a union. Try negotiating with a union anytime. See how that goes. Uh, let's see if there's anything else. Lions offensive tackle Tyler Taylor Decker announces he'll be returning after contemplating retirement. So the Lions retain Taylor Decker. Trent Williams is at a contractual standoff with the 49ers. They need to work something new out, apparently, to reduce his cap hit. Uh, The Cardinals may extend Michael Wilson and Paris Johnson. Um, let's see. It'll be interesting if they can't get these referees to sign on the dotted line. Sign on the line that is dotted. Robert Salo likes Cam Ward. Well, that's not surprising. It's his quarterback. There's some trade interest for Tyson Bagent. Um, well, now let me say one last thing. Bobby Wagner fully intends to continue playing. That guy's a statue at this point. I'm not sure why he continues to play. He's no good. Very immobile. But one thing that I wanted to say about Tanner McKee, I wouldn't mind acquiring Tanner McKee if we could get him for a 7th-round pick or something small like that. If he's the backup, QB2, QB3, that's fine. But it's just hard for me to believe that Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji and Frank Reich are all going to put their careers on the line, or in Reich's case, he came all the way back out of, from Stanford, where he had a nice situation. They're all going to place their bet on Tanner McKee or Kyler Murray or one of these other bums that keep getting mocked to us by different people. I just don't see it. And let's hope that Aaron Glenn is as smart as his reputation is, because we also now have Glenn, who was very well thought of until this last year when people were disappointed with him as a first-year head coach. And I said, well, wait a minute, he's going to make mistakes, of course. But not like that, Frankie. Yeah, well, what do you expect? He's a first-timer. So hopefully he learns. But before that, had a stellar reputation amongst league circles for his football acumen. And now we also have 3 people in the brain trust, Reich, Billy Moosegravy, and Darren Muji, who were either quarterbacks in the league or at college level and have been quarterback-oriented their whole lives. Reich, Moosegravy, and Muji. Muji was a quarterback in college, then turned into a wide receiver and was a wide receiver in the NFL at practice squad level, and then went into scouting and so forth. So we now have 3 people who've played the position, the key position, for at a high level that we've never had in points of brain trust before. And you're going to tell me all that brain trust about the quarterback position, they're going to go with Kyler Murray, Tanner McKee, some random guy who played 1 game, 2 games? What? No. If that's the case, I'm going to have a hard time with it on this channel. I'll tell you that much. And I just have a hard time believing that. But what we do know is that by the end of this week, you'll start hearing rumors. There'll be so many rumors it'll make your freaking head spin, because that's just the nature of it. All the teams are down at the combine. All the reporters are down at the combine. All the agents are down at the combine. The agents are the key to this whole thing. As I told you, you're going to find out at some point Country Club Connor Hughes was being paid off by Athletes First to talk up Tanner McKee. Somebody will spill that eventually. You watch. But the point is that all that's going on. So the teams are talking to the agents are talking to other agents, teams are talking to other teams, everybody chatting, and then eventually the reporters get wind of everything. And so by the end of this week, the rumors coming out of the mouths of people like Country Club Connor and Zach Rosenblather and Rub It In Rich Samini and others like that, those will actually be meaningful rumors because they'll be sourced. This Tanner McKee stuff is not sourced. Country Club admitted that. So why is he saying it? Do you think he really has a professional opinion about Tanner fucking McKee? You think he really watched him like I did at Stanford? No. So why would he be saying just this random thing about this random guy on some random roster? Money, 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 money. Athletes First got a lot of money. And if you think Athletes First and these huge agencies don't want to control the media narratives about their clients, you're out of your fucking mind. So, but that's a side point. But now, so that's for now. He can get that in now. He makes it clear in these statements. This is not sourced. This is just my opinion. Okay, if it's not sourced, why are we listening to you? Why are you listening to him, Frankie? Well, we got to watch these fuckers because they might say something sourced and whatever. So, but anyway, by the end of the week, they're going to have sourced information. So the things they say on Friday and Saturday and Sunday are going to be a lot better. And then we'll do a live stream on Friday night here on FSPN. Check it out, Friday Night Hang. Give some super chats. Why not? We need to support old Frankie. And Saturday we do Coffee with Frankie. Sunday morning, not Saturday, but Sunday morning. Sunday morning at 10, Coffee with Frankie. By then we should have a lot to talk about because we should have some good, juicy rumors coming out that are sourced and that are much more likely to happen rather than just random speculation about this random guy, that random guy. All right. So that being the case, if you do have any questions or comments, don't leave them down below because the FSPN comment policy is silencio. Save it for the live stream. To participate in the live stream, you got to be a subscriber, so hit the subscribe button down below. And if you want the inside juice, if you want the inside information, if you want all the great stuff, become a member of the Inner Circle. Click the button that says join, and for just $2 a month, you can get lots and lots of goodies that you're going to want. And with that being said, I'll see you next time.